Okay, it looks like we're live.
Right.
Uh, I'm Shaun O'Neill, and my special guest today is the Honourable Judith Collins. How are you, Judith?
I'm great, thank you, Shaun. Just had a caucus meeting for a couple of hours on Zoom. We're
How
getting
did
really
that
good.
go?
Very good, actually. Really constructive, great discussions.
Justin Brown, a friend of mine, has wanted me to open up with this question. Have you watched Squid Games on Netflix?
No, should I? I've just been watching the last series 6 rather, of A Line of Duty, which I watched on Netflix, and now it's on TVNZ on demand. So I found on that, and then I've just watched that sort of.
Nice.
But anyway, what's it? The Squid Games.
Squid
Okay,
Games.
cool.
It is the most watched program ever to be on Netflix. It's
wow.
Produced. A lot of violence in it.
Oh.
A lot of scheming and backstabbing and stuff. Some people, I wouldn't say this, some people would say you could draw similarities between that and the National Party. Is that unfair of those people?
That would be very unfair, very unfair. No, obviously, I should watch Squid Games so I can realise just how good we are compared to that.
So tell me this though, Judith. You know, you've been in politics for a damn long time, probably one of the most experienced politicians that we've got there. What does National need to do to get through? Because like how I see it, you've got a bit of a perfect storm here. You've got Jacinda Ardern, a great communicator, probably one of the most charismatic leaders that we've actually had. You've now got David Seymour seeming to get all the headlines as far as opposition goes. You've turned over the leaders a lot. What does National actually need to do to cut through?
So number one, Shaun, we stop talking about ourselves. I'm not interested in it. What I am interested in doing is talking about the things that matter to people. So right now we have a government that's come out yesterday and said they're going to mandate teachers to have vaccines. They're going to.
What's your view on that?
Mandate all these things. Just come back to that. Okay. The problem is I'm not interested in talking about the National Party because we have our views, which said another really successful caucus discussion about a whole lot of things, including the government's pronouncements. And we have to be, you're not going to see me, giving out ice creams at the Mr. Whippy van. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do stunts. I'm not going to do stuff like that. And that's because we have a serious job to do. And right at the moment, we've got businesses all over the country, and particularly in Auckland, that are on their knees, that are closing up. And I've been around, and I'm in Auckland at the moment. I've been here for a week with my family, and I'm going back to Wellington with a negative COVID test and 5 days isolation, all these things, even though it's not legally required. I'm doing it because you got to be part of the team. And, I'm just not, that's what actually needs addressing. So we've put out our COVID plan. We've said, where's the government's plan? They've got no plan. And the announcement yesterday on the mandate thing for teachers, that's just because they haven't actually had a plan. And their plan should have been to have got 90%, 90% of people vaccinated in this country, double vaccinated by now, and they haven't done it. And that's the problem.
But for whatever reason, that hasn't happened. So are you against the whole idea of this mandate for the teachers? Surely
it can't be, because the government has failed. We've got kids who have not been to school for 7 weeks. We've got actually 8 weeks now. We've got, as I've said, businesses failing. We've got kids who have got exams, not only the NCEA ones, they can do a lot of that by internal assessment somehow without attending school. We've got kids who have got the Cambridge exams overseas, the international baccalaureate. They're all saying, well, how are we supposed to do this? We've got kids who have missed out on a decent education for 2 years, and we're sitting around I'm not worrying about the National Party, I'm just getting on doing my job. So that's why there has to be a mandate, because we've got no kids at school. Well, yeah, we shouldn't be necessary, should it? It shouldn't be necessary. But right at the moment, when we're in this situation and we've got parents frightened to send their kids to school, something has to happen. So where's the rapid antigen testing for the teachers? Not
Okay,
here,
so
not
how,
approved. Those things, yeah.
how about the wage subsidies that have been handed out so far? Because, you know, I suppose in many respects, Labor are kind of damned if they do and damned if they don't. Because, you know, I've got two sons. I don't want them to be working in a through their 20s and 30s having all this debt that the government that the country has to pay off. But also, I was pretty bloody grateful when that wage subsidy came in. I'm a small business owner. I mean, what would you have done anything
Well, of
different?
course they would have. So we
What
said we would have. We supported it. But we're now 18 months after this pandemic started, and we've still got small businesses just basically hand to mouth trying to stay alive, and there's no help for rent, there's no help for any profit that people would normally be making. There's nothing to pay the bills, and
So
the
should they
bills
be
that just
spending more
keep on
money?
ticking. Oh,
So
it's not that. It's the government had one job this year, Shaun. Don't
no,
just give away money. Don't just give
no,
away money. We've
I know
said,
that. I know that, Judith, but you're saying, you know, they've got rent to pay and everything. I'm talking about right now.
oh,
with these-
right
what
now, we
they're
said
getting
4 weeks ago, Shaun, 4 weeks ago, we said give some rent relief to commercial small businesses if you've got fewer than 20 staff members, full-time equivalents, that is. Give people some rent relief. And the way to do that is to get the tenant, as in the business, to pay a quarter of their costs, you know, the rent, the landlord to contribute a quarter, and the government to stump up with half, and have that for a 4-week period just to give people some breathing space. But they didn't do that. They said, no, there's plenty of help out there. There's not. And you know,
So you would be spending more money. You would be.
no, it's about spending it properly. So we've now got 200,000 people on the dole. 200,000 people. So, and the government turns around and says, oh, but unemployment rate's low. Unemployment rate is not the number of people in the dole, as you all know. It's just a number calculated out of who is available for work and willing to work.
Okay, so how about
So,
how about an industry like the hospitality industry? Would you be treating them differently to other sectors in the business community? Where would they be getting paid more money, or what would you be doing to say take that restaurant on the Viaduct Basin? They've been there for 20 years. I think it's called Euro. They're now out of business.
Yeah.
What would you have done differently for that industry?
Well, I'm not going to say we're going to treat everybody differently on different industries, because ultimately you've hit the nail on the head when you said your son doesn't want to be paying back all this debt. So we now have twice the amount of debt that the government inherited. And we understand we've had a pandemic, but if you're going to spend money, do it wisely. So Euro, how could they stay alive? Help them with their rent.
A little bit on this, so you're having it both ways, aren't you?
No, I'm not.
You are,
I'm not at all.
You're saying your sons don't want to have all the debt, but then you're saying
your son.
Yep.
So going to borrow money, then make it pay, make it be worthwhile. So is it important to keep up these small businesses? Euro is a really top-notch restaurant, been around for, as you say, for 20 years. One you could always rely on, great place. And they have said it's too hard. So it's too hard because they can't get chefs, because the government stopped immigration for the last 18 months and have treated the MIQ system like a lottery. Then you've got not enough money to pay the rent. Then you've got all these things. So wages are only part of, obviously, the cost of doing business. And if you're a small business and you've gone through all these lockdowns, you've got almost no financial resilience left. And that's the problem. So get the vaccine. The government gave itself one job this year, Shaun, one job, and that was to roll out the vaccine, and they stuffed it up big time, and we're all paying.
What do you think Labor has done well through the COVID so far?
Oh, what have they done well? They've got compliance from most New Zealanders by communicating well and without ever actually telling us any of the health information they had. So they have done an incredible spin job. So if you look at the number of communication staff that are now employed in government agencies, It's 123, I think it is at the moment, in the Transport Agency, up from about 20 something. So you've got enormous amount of spin in advertising. They've kept alive a media industry with $55 million of taxpayer money each year, and they've got them to comply with what they want, which is all about an agenda about changing New Zealand significantly. Now, what have they done well? Yeah, they've done that. They've spun and they've spun and they've spun.
Okay.
That's it, really.
So if I say something off the cuff, no one's really gonna care. But if you do the same, then it does make a difference. So do you feel in your role you need to choose your words really carefully these days with what's going to be?
Yeah. Oh, I think that's a good point, Shaun, actually. So I could be scripted all the time and spin.
Yeah.
Or I could be honest.
Right.
So I believe absolutely in authenticity. That doesn't mean to say that my sense of humour is naturally going to be understood by an entirely woke audience that gets offended at every single little thing and doesn't feel that they can, they need to worry about or respect me or people of my generation. So, it's not going to suit everybody, but it is important that when I tell you something, I mean it and I'm not spinning.
But do you sometimes ever, at the end of the day, sit back and go, Judith, you probably could have chosen those words a little bit differently. Do you ever do that, or do you just have no regret?
Yes, of course, Shaun. Look, I reflect on how I perform. So there will be times when I say something, I think, oh, maybe that wasn't so good. Just like everybody should. But what is that I'll never lie to you.
So, I mean, here's a good example. How about the comment about the microbiologist, Susie? So you said she's a big fat hypocrite. Was that one of those days where you went home and went, yeah, I probably could have chose my words more carefully? Or do you still go, no, she's a big fat hypocrite, that's what I think?
Well, of course, you and I are old enough to remember when people use terms like big fat liar. Not saying anyone's fat, not saying anyone's big, but saying they're an enormous liar. Oops, someone could be offended at that. But ultimately, that becomes a distraction. And so I'm happy to say, if you have rules for people under level 4 lockdowns, you expect the people who tell you what to do to follow those rules. And that's what I'm happy to say. So, it would have been better to have said, it'd be really nice if she followed the rules.
Yeah, it probably would have been. Because, and I think I think maybe that is a big difference between you and Jacinda Ardern. I can't imagine her wording it like that, saying, oh, she's a big fat liar. I think that she would say something like, I think she could have done much better or something. I wonder if when you say something like that, if that does resonate with people or it just annoys the hell out of people. I don't know.
Well, I think that some people want to believe everything they're told.
Okay.
I'm not one of those people who are going to tell them what they want to necessarily hear. Look, the thing is, Shaun, I'm not ever going to be somebody else. I am who I am. I have, 40 years experience and, as in terms of business and law. I actually have done stuff. I've run companies. I've run businesses. I've set them up from nothing. I've had to do that. And I've advised people on that. I'm a tax lawyer. I'm not a spin doctor. So accept that you're going to get the unvarnished truth from me. And I'm from a farm. I'm a country girl. I'm not spun.
What's the best thing that you've achieved since you've been leader of the National Party?
Actually, I've got our teams working, our team caucus working in teams. I've got them producing things. So if you see, for instance, the COVID plan that we put out, 2-3 weeks ago, the government is now starting to do some of our plan. We don't have thousands of staff, ministries, all these people. We don't have the resources that the Labour Party and the Labour government has. We actually have to knuckle down and do the work ourselves. And we had a team approach. We've got a teams working now in various other areas. We're putting out policy. Now, this is 2 years out from an election, and that's where we are. We're 2 years out from an election. So 2 years out from election means you don't normally have political parties putting out policy. We're putting it out. Why? Because it's needed right now, and the government doesn't seem to know what to do. That is a big thing. The other thing is I have required and enforced discipline. Now, that is something that is needed in every business, every place, and I haven't had to do it by doing too much other than to expect it. And our team has absolutely relished seeing that discipline is being expected.
Do you think they're scared of you, your team?
No, I think our team respects each other, and that's what I expect. I expect people to be respectful of each other in our team, and that is what I'm seeing. That is an entirely different situation than what I took over.
So what's the area or aspect of your leadership that you think you could have done better? Because you said before that you've got self-awareness. There must be
okay. So for a start,
a
really good start would be, Shaun, not to take over a leadership partway through an election campaign after a failed leadership from someone who instigated a coup in the middle, just before an election campaign. Don't take it over then when you are in the middle of a pandemic and you're about to go into yet another lockdown. Don't do that one, which is actually what I thought at the time. But then I thought, well, it's a challenge. We get on with it. I'm not worrying. I'm not here to talk about my leadership, Shaun. If you want to talk about stuff that's really important, I'm happy to.
No, I know, but I just wonder if...
Well, you might want to, but no, I'm here to talk about stuff that matters. So if you want to talk about this country, what matters, I'm happy to do it.
No, I understand that. But I just wonder if some of the people in the National Party have also learnt those lessons, where they're going, you know what, Judith is a safe pair of hands. Let's get her, keep her going, what she's doing, till we get closer to the election. I mean, and then roll her and put someone else in. I mean, is that fair to suggest that maybe that's what's happening?
No. And I say why no is because I'm not going anywhere. And secondly, it's that sort of stupid talk that, frankly, I'm sick of listening to the media talk about. Why? Because they can't be bothered looking at policy, and they can't be bothered actually doing the work and wondering why the hell it is that a year out from an election, when the government was given this massive mandate to actually lead, all they've done is spin, fail, promise, fail, plan, no plan, no dot planning, no execution.
I'm just trying to get my head round, once again, what you would actually be doing differently right now. Because I just got, because I did get, and I'm not an interviewer, okay, so, but I got a little confused when you're going, worried about how much money we're spending, but then suggesting that we would actually be spending more. Have I got that? Like, which one?
No,
is
you're just completely wrong. Sorry, Shaun, you're wrong. And why you're wrong is this: we would never be in this situation.
No,
okay,
but
so no. Order the vaccines early, not late.
Yeah, I know. But okay, say you took over right now, though. Right this very
right now. Oh, right now. We've already rolled out our plan. We've already given it to you. We've put it out there. Eh?
Right now. Take off
right now, right. Well, where's your rapid antigen testing? Get it available in the community right now to every pharmacist, everything, right now.
What? Businesses more money. Would you be spending?
Oh, you're talking about that. Okay, so number one, give businesses certainty. So roll out our commercial lease assistance for businesses. But the businesses, you can't just keep paying money out unless you've got a plan to actually make things better. Okay. So number one, roll out the commercial lease help. Secondly, right now, get rapid antigen testing into every business, every pharmacy, everywhere, every school, available now, so people can take their own control of their health. They will test and in 15 minutes have a result. And that's something this government has so far effectively banned. Get saliva testing out. Yeah.
Okay, so hypothetical, your Prime Minister, as of right now, outside the beehive, Brian Tamaki turns up with, it's a larger number this time, 3,000 protesters. Someone walks in the office and says to you, Prime Minister, what should we do with Brian? What do you do?
Well, obviously, the police have independence. So I expect that they will want to enforce the law.
Right. So you'd end up in jail.
That's the one. So enforce the law. And by the way, while you're at it, all those gangs that seem to be able to have tangi hanga and everything else they want to do in parties, enforce the law on them too. And stop picking on people who actually try their very best to comply with the law.
Is there an example? Which leader sort of out there globally, a president or a prime minister, are you currently respecting and go, hey, they do a really great job. I like their style. That'd be someone that I would, be kind of similar to.
Well, I like Scott Morrison. I think he's got a good style. I think he's hit a bit of choppy water just at the moment, but that's just that goes with the territory. I like Angela Merkel, but then again, she's going, and there's now a whole revisionist history on her and saying that she wasn't tough enough and various things, and she let 1 million people come in out of Syria and places like that. And gosh, I wish they hadn't done that. So there's whatever it is, there's something. I'm not worried about that, because ultimately you've got to deal with the facts you've got to deal with. And right at the moment, there is nothing coming from this government that gives me any confidence.
Well, but I tell you, that's not showing. And look, no. I used to work in radio, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we would have surveys all the time. And when a survey result came out that was really good, I would go, guys, we've had a great survey. When I had a survey result that was really bad, I would go, live by the book, die by the book. I mean, we've got these polls coming out, which is what you guys go by.
No, we don't.
And National is just not cutting through. It's not. And why is that? Why is it?
Hey, Shaun, it's Tell 2 me. Years out from election. It's 2 years out from election. We're in a lockdown. No sensible polling company polls during a lockdown. And it's 2 years out from election. We've got so much work to do. And that's why we're putting out policy. That's why I'm completely disinterested in talking about stuff that has absolutely nothing to do with what New Zealanders are going through at the moment. So if you want to talk about stuff that New Zealanders are going through at the moment and what our answers are and what ideas are, I'm happy to talk about it.
So what's the biggest idea that from National that you would like to push through now and say, here's a game changer?
Adopt everything out of our COVID plan right now. You do that, then New Zealand can actually be opened up for Christmas. New Zealanders can get home for Christmas, which is to rapidly push out that vaccine program. The government is trying its best now, but it's waited too long. Secondly, get rapid antigen testing out there. Now, you might roll your eyes at that, Shaun, but if you're a truckie or you're somebody who's having to cross the border between Auckland and anywhere else, or Waikato or anywhere else, that's what you want every day you're crossing that, rather than saying, a test you took 3 or 4 days ago will be fine, thanks. This is the sort of thing that is practical. And the government has no understanding of actually delivering. So, okay, we'll be doing that. We'll be getting the saliva testing out. We'll be saying, don't just mandate vaccines. Also, at the same time, give people the ability to be able to operate. So you don't just say lockdown's the only solution. Lockdown is not the solution. It is a holding pattern.
Haven't we progressed out of lockdowns now, though?
No.
We're starting to move out of that.
Shaun, when has the Prime Minister actually admitted that we're no longer in an elimination strategy? Never. Yeah. She's just said, it's containment.
This is
Come on, be honest to people.
No, but hang on. This is a thing with politicians, which I don't understand. Surely you can change your mind on things. That's life. Life changes. Things change.
Yeah, why did she say it? Why did she say it? See, I'm not a career politician. The Prime Minister is a career politician. That's all she's done. Either worked in politics or been a politician. That's it.
But you've been in politics longer than she. You are a career politician.
No. I've had 20 years of being a lawyer, advising people, being able to actually run my own business, being able to open up and start and sell restaurants very successfully. way before I came into politics. So I'm not someone who's done nothing else, and I don't live and die by it. I have.
How long have you been in politics for now?
18 years. Oh, sorry, 19 years.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And before that, 20 years. And I'm still a lawyer. So that's like 40 years.
Do you miss it? You think, why do I do this every day? Why don't I just go back?
Because I care about our country, and because I know I make a difference, and because I have the backbone to actually stand up and say the right things. And you'll never see or hear me just spinning the sort of stuff that I see from the government day in, day out. I mean, look what happens. On Thursday, there was bad news. Friday, bad news. Saturday, bad news. Suddenly, the Prime Minister's not there anymore. Why? When we've had 18 months of 1 p.m. pulpit, sermon for the pulpit. So come on. You'll never see me run away from hard decisions, and you'll never see me hide because there's bad news. I always front up.
Why is ACT cutting through much
more?
Well,
because they've got it's easy for people to be able to look at them and say, oh, there's an easy answer. But the thing is too, is also you need to, also remember is that when people chose not to vote for us. They chose not to vote at a time when we had 3 leaders in 4 months. They saw disarray, they saw people not working together, all that sort of stuff. And they looked around for some easy solutions. And of course, it takes a while for people to realise that the only party that can change the government is National. We're the only party that is broad-based. We're the only ones who can do that. And we've got 2 years to go. So, if you want to talk about that all day, I'm sure that you and me might find that very exciting. But actually, I reckon most of your people are sitting there thinking, so what's going to change when National takes over? What are they going to do about employment? What are they going to do about this? That's what they want to know about.
Well, go on.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So number one, this. You look at the moment now. So Labor's bringing in fair pay agreements. Well, what a crock. Absolute crock. I suppose I shouldn't say that. Well, too bad. You know what it is? It is a crock. Why? It's a crock because it's nothing to do with fair pay. It's about a return to compulsory unionism. And if anyone can remember compulsory unionism, and I certainly can, having to pay union fees for a union that didn't care, I understand exactly what that is. That is what this fair pay agreement malarkey is all about. And so we've been running, before the last lockdown, meetings up and down the country led by Scott Simpson, our workplace relations spokesperson, about this. Now, your business audience should be saying, what the hell's going on here? Why is Labor trying to force compulsory unionism on us on what's left of our businesses? Now, answer me that one, Shaun.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Well, in employment law, that would be the biggest thing, isn't it? The other thing is, where's the help to businesses about what they can do around vaccine and vaccines generally and what they can require? Where's the help? None, nothing, no protection if an employer says, no, I don't think you should be able to come in because everyone has to work closely together. No, nothing for them. Why aren't they giving businesses help? And the answer is, they don't understand what to do.
Judith, I've taken up enough of your time today. Thank you so much for your time. I really enjoyed it. Did you?
You learned a few things, haven't you? You didn't know about the fair pay agreement, did you?
Always,
That's what's coming.
Always here to learn, Judith. I'm always here to learn.
Fair pay agreements is the biggest slap in the face for a business community that's on its knees that you've ever seen. And it's coming right now.
Thanks so much, Judith. Enjoy the rest of your day. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.